People are suddenly talking about Jimi Hendrix again. Everywhere you look, from YouTube to social media, his name is popping up. Young fans who weren't even born when he was alive are now asking questions about him. Old fans are sharing stories and songs like it's the late 60s again. It's almost like time has moved backward and Jimi Hendrix is back in the spotlight, but no one is exactly sure why. Something has changed, something big, and people can feel it. Jimi Hendrix passed away more than 50 years ago, but today his name is rising again like a wave. This kind of attention doesn't just happen by chance. Something must be behind it. Maybe it's a new documentary, or maybe a lost recording has been found. Maybe someone famous mentioned him, or maybe something he said decades ago is suddenly relevant again. No one knows the full reason, and that's what makes it exciting. That's what pulls people in. Imagine seeing a post late at night that says Jimi Hendrix's voice heard again after 50 years. You'd click on it. Most people would. Because even if you don't know his music well, you've probably heard the name. There's a mystery in that kind of headline. It makes you wonder what happened, what did they find, is it real? What makes all this even more interesting is who Jimi Hendrix was. He wasn't just a guitarist, he was something more. He played the guitar in a way no one had seen before. He didn't follow rules. He made new ones. People say he made the guitar talk. He could make it cry, scream, laugh. At a time when rock music was growing fast, Jimi stood out because he was wild and free. His music wasn't just sound, it was feeling. And when someone like that comes back into the spotlight after so many years, it makes people pay attention. For years his fans believed that there were still things about Jimi that had never been seen or heard. He recorded a lot of music that was never released. He wrote notes, ideas, and lyrics that no one outside his circle ever read. So when people start talking again, some wonder, has something new come out? A lost tape, a handwritten song, an interview that was kept private until now. The curiosity is powerful, and it's not just about music, it's about Jimi himself. He had a short life. He became famous in just a few years and died when he was only 27. That number 27 has now become famous because many other musicians also died at that age. It's called the 27 Club, and Jimi was one of the first. That alone gives his story a kind of myth. A man who changed music, left suddenly, and might still have stories waiting to be told. Some people think there's more to his death than what was reported. They talk about mystery, unanswered questions, maybe even secrets. So every time his name comes up, those questions come up too. People don't just want to hear his songs again, they want to understand who he really was. What was going on in his mind? What did he believe in? What was he trying to say through his music? Now imagine a new generation discovering him. Teenagers today are watching his old performances on TikTok, using his songs in their Instagram reels, and reacting to his guitar solos on YouTube. They don't know the full story, but they can feel something in his music. Something raw, something real. And that's powerful. When someone from the past connects to people in the present, it creates a kind of magic. It brings questions like, why did this person matter so much? Why are they still remembered? What makes their story different? It's not easy to stay in people's hearts for decades after your death. But Jimi Hendrix has done that, and now he's doing it again. That's why the world is talking. That's why people are curious. They want to know what brought him back into the spotlight this time, and they want to be part of it. Maybe it's a film, maybe it's an unreleased concert recording, maybe it's something someone said, maybe even another celebrity. But one thing is clear, the timing isn't random. Something has stirred the memory of Jimi Hendrix in people's minds, and the world is watching closely. People are searching his name again. They are reading old interviews, they are listening to albums like Are You Experienced and Electric Ladyland, and hearing them with fresh ears. For some it's the first time. For others it's a return to something they once loved. In both cases it feels like discovery. That's the strange thing about legends. They never fully disappear. They live in waves, sometimes quiet, sometimes loud. Right now Jimi Hendrix is in one of those loud waves, and no one knows how long it will last. But while it's here, people are listening. They're talking. They're remembering. And they're asking the question everyone wants answered, what brought him back? And maybe the answer isn't just one thing. Maybe it's many small things. A moment in culture, a sudden interest in vintage sound. A reminder that true talent, real emotion, and fearless art never go out of style. Maybe Jimi Hendrix never really left. Maybe the world is just ready to hear him again. Lately something strange has been happening with Jimi Hendrix's name. Out of nowhere, it seems like the whole world is suddenly obsessed with him again. But why? What caused this sudden revival of interest in someone who passed away so long ago? The answer is not as simple as it may seem. Something mysterious is going on, and everyone is trying to figure out what it is. At first, it's easy to think this is just another moment where an old artist gets a new fan base. After all, many legendary figures are rediscovered by younger generations every few years. But there's something different about the way Jimi Hendrix is coming back into the spotlight. It's as if his name is sparking something much bigger than a simple wave of nostalgia. People are genuinely curious, trying to figure out what brought him back into the conversation after so many decades. Imagine hearing whispers about Jimi Hendrix on social media. Posts pop up with phrases like "Jimi Hendrix is trending again," or "You won't believe what's been found." At first, it's hard to believe. After all, Jimi passed away in 1970, and since then, there has been little mystery left about his life. Or so it seemed, but then the rumors start flying. New footage, an old unreleased track, a documentary about him that includes never-before-seen interviews. The more you hear, the more it feels like there is something happening that we don't know about. And the mystery surrounding it makes you want to dig deeper. What if something huge has just been uncovered? For years, fans have held on to the idea that there must be more out there. Hendrix recorded a lot of music, and not all of it was released to the public. Some of his live performances were captured on film, but only a few lucky fans ever got to see them. What if some of this hidden material has surfaced? What if a lost interview or a previously unknown recording has just been found? These possibilities are what keep people coming back, day after day, to look for answers. It's not just about the music though. There's something about the mystery of Jimi Hendrix himself that keeps people intrigued. From his sudden rise to fame to his untimely death at the age of 27, Jimi's life was filled with questions. And these questions have never really gone away. For some, it feels like he was taken from the world too soon, leaving many mysteries behind. He didn't get the chance to explain everything about his art, his music, and even his personal beliefs. And maybe, just maybe, the reason he's back in the spotlight is that there's more to uncover about him, even now. In the age of technology and the internet, things that were once hidden or forgotten can be discovered in an instant. People can find old photos, unreleased music, and even long-lost video footage with just a few clicks. So it makes sense that Jimi Hendrix, a man who was always ahead of his time, would somehow find his way back into the world's consciousness in such a mysterious way. The question is, what's behind this sudden resurgence? What exactly is it that people are talking about? Some suggest that a famous musician or celebrity has brought Jimi Hendrix back into the conversation. Maybe a modern artist has covered one of his songs, or mentioned him in an interview. Perhaps a well-known figure on social media posted something about him, and it quickly went viral. This kind of influence can spread like wildfire. A single mention from the right person can spark a new wave of curiosity and interest in a legendary figure like Hendrix. Others believe it's the work of the media. In recent years, there have been numerous documentaries, books, and articles about Jimi Hendrix's life. Maybe something new has come to light in one of these projects. Maybe a documentary is revealing something shocking, or perhaps a new biography is shedding light on hidden parts of his life. The idea that a new book or film could bring a fresh perspective on Hendrix is enough to make anyone stop and pay attention. And then there are those who believe that it's simply the right time for Jimi Hendrix to come back. Maybe the world has changed in a way that makes his music and his message relevant again. We live in a time where individuality, self-expression, and pushing boundaries are more important than ever. These were things that Hendrix stood for, and his music, filled with raw emotion and innovation, still speaks to people today. Maybe the world just needs his message again. Perhaps this revival is not about something new being found, but about people rediscovering what was always there. The mystery isn't just about finding new material or hearing new stories. It's about the question of why this is happening right now. Why is Jimi Hendrix trending again? What triggered this sudden interest? People want answers, but the answers aren't clear yet. The more you think about it, the more you realize that there might not be just one simple reason. It could be a combination of things: new music, new documentaries, a shift in the cultural climate, and the never-ending curiosity about a man who was taken too soon. There's something thrilling about this. Jimi Hendrix was a pioneer, a person who always broke the rules and did things his own way. So why wouldn't he find a way to rise again, even after all these years? The idea that he's somehow been brought back into the spotlight in such a mysterious way fits perfectly with his legacy. He was never a predictable artist, and his life was full of surprises. Maybe, just maybe, the world isn't done with him yet. The curiosity surrounding his sudden revival is a testament to the lasting impact he had on music and culture. It's proof that Jimi Hendrix is more than just a figure from the past. He's a symbol of creativity, freedom, and artistic expression that continues to inspire people to this day. And this brings us to the most important question: what comes next? What more will we learn about Jimi Hendrix? What secrets are left to uncover? With all this attention surrounding him, it seems like we are just at the beginning of another chapter in his legacy. People are listening to his music again, watching his performances, and asking the questions that were left unanswered for so long. This mystery is far from over. In fact, it's only just beginning, and everyone is watching to see what happens next. Jimi Hendrix wasn't just a guitarist. He was a force of nature, a man who changed the way we listen to music forever. His sound wasn't just different, it was revolutionary. Even today, decades after his death, people still listen to his music in awe. His ability to make a guitar sing, scream, and speak in ways no one had ever heard before is what made him stand out. The more you dig into his music, the more you realize that his influence goes far beyond his time. His sound didn't just change rock music, it changed music as a whole. It's almost impossible to think of rock music without Jimi Hendrix. His name has become almost synonymous with the electric guitar. His famous performances, his groundbreaking albums, and his incredible solos are still referenced by musicians all over the world. But what made his sound so special? What was it about the way he played that made people stop and listen? It starts with his unique approach to the guitar. Most musicians, when they play an instrument, follow certain rules. There are patterns, scales, and techniques that musicians learn over time. But Jimi Hendrix didn't follow those rules. He created his own. He made the guitar do things no one had ever thought possible. His playing was wild, chaotic, and full of emotion. He didn't just play notes, he made them talk. He made the guitar speak to the listener in a way that was new, strange, and exciting. One of the most fascinating things about Jimi Hendrix was his ability to experiment with sound. He was always looking for new ways to express himself through his music. He was one of the first musicians to use effects pedals in a creative way. These pedals allowed him to manipulate his sound, creating everything from smooth flowing tones to harsh distorted noises. He used fuzz, delay, and wah-wah pedals to create effects that had never been heard before. These sounds became the hallmark of his music, setting him apart from every other guitarist at the time. But it wasn't just about the technology. Jimi Hendrix had an ear for sound. He understood how to use the electric guitar not just as an instrument but as a tool for emotional expression. His solos were not just impressive because of their speed or complexity, they were powerful because of the feelings they conveyed. When you listen to a Hendrix song, you can feel the raw emotion in every note. Whether it's the fire and energy of Voodoo Child or the softness and sadness of Little Wing, his music speaks to something deep inside of you. It's a sound that doesn't just play in the background, it demands to be heard. It commands your attention and it makes you feel something. The music of Jimi Hendrix was also incredibly innovative. He didn't just follow the trends of the time. He set them. When he first came onto the music scene, rock music was still evolving, but Jimi took it to new heights. His albums like Are You Experienced and Electric Ladyland are considered masterpieces because they pushed the boundaries of what rock music could be. He wasn't afraid to experiment with new sounds, blending different genres like blues, jazz, and psychedelia. His music was as much about feeling and atmosphere as it was about technical ability. But what really set Jimi Hendrix apart was his live performances. If his albums were revolutionary, his concerts were a spectacle. There was no one like him on stage. His performances were wild, unpredictable, and filled with raw energy. The way he interacted with the audience was unlike anything anyone had ever seen. He didn't just play the guitar, he owned it. He made it a part of himself. His stage presence was magnetic, and when he played, it felt like the entire room was vibrating with energy. Every note he played was a part of a larger story, a journey that took his audience on a ride they would never forget. It's this combination of technical skill, emotional depth, and pure stage presence that made Jimi Hendrix such a powerful force in music. His influence on rock music cannot be overstated. Countless musicians have cited him as an inspiration, and his sound has been emulated by everyone from hard rock bands to alternative artists. Even today when you hear a guitar solo, it's hard not to think of Hendrix. His approach to the instrument and his ability to push the boundaries of what music could be have had a lasting impact on the world of music. But what's even more fascinating is how Hendrix's sound is still relevant today. Despite the fact that he passed away in 1970, his music continues to inspire new generations of listeners. His albums are still being played, his concerts are still being talked about, and his influence is still being felt in the music of today. It's almost like his sound never truly left. The electric guitar may have evolved, but the essence of Jimi Hendrix's music remains the same. It's a timeless sound that continues to connect with people across different cultures and generations. One reason for this timelessness is that Jimi Hendrix was never just about being flashy or showing off. He wasn't trying to impress people with how fast he could play or how many notes he could fit into a solo. His music was about emotion and expression. It was about making a connection with the listener. He used his guitar to say things words couldn't. Whether he was playing a sweet melodic tune or ripping through a wild, chaotic solo, he was always telling a story. And that's something that resonates with people, no matter when they listen. As more people rediscover his music, it's clear that Jimi Hendrix's sound still has the power to captivate audiences. Whether it's through the power of his guitar, the emotion in his playing, or the sheer raw energy he brought to every performance, his music continues to stand the test of time. The fact that people are still talking about him today shows just how much of an impact he had. His influence reaches far beyond his lifetime, and his sound has become a part of the fabric of rock music and popular culture. It's a sound that changed the world, and it's a sound that will continue to inspire for years to come. The news spread quickly, and at first no one could believe it. Something about Jimi Hendrix had been discovered that no one expected. It wasn't just another documentary or a re-release of old tracks. This was something bigger, something that had the potential to change how we see the legendary guitarist. The music world, usually so calm and steady, was suddenly buzzing with excitement. What was it that had shaken the industry so much? What was this new discovery, and how could it possibly live up to the hype? At first, all people knew was that something rare had surfaced. For years, fans had speculated about the existence of unreleased material from Jimi Hendrix. Some thought there were hidden recordings of live performances, while others believed there might be lost songs that had never made it to the studio. But the details of this new discovery were unlike anything anyone had imagined. Whatever it was causing a stir, and it had people asking questions. What had they found? Why had it been kept secret for so long? And what did this mean for the legacy of Jimi Hendrix? When news of the discovery first broke, there was a sense of disbelief. How could something this big have been hidden for so many years? The world had already seen countless documentaries, biographies, and interviews about Jimi Hendrix. There had been books written about every aspect of his life, and his music had been analyzed from every angle. What could possibly be new? It wasn't just the discovery itself that shocked people. It was the idea that after all these years something important was still waiting to be revealed. It was as if Jimi's story had not yet been fully told. His legacy was still evolving. The curiosity grew as more details emerged. People started to hear rumors about what the discovery might be. Some said it was a never-before-heard recording of one of his most famous performances. Others speculated that it was a new song that had never been released to the public. There were even whispers of an old film or video footage that had been hidden away for decades. Fans of Jimi Hendrix are used to surprises, but this one felt different. This discovery wasn't just about a rare artifact, it was about unlocking another part of Jimi's story that no one had seen before. What made this discovery even more interesting was the fact that it had been hidden for so long. If it was something so significant, why hadn't it been revealed before? What had stopped it from being shared with the world all these years? Some people believe that the discovery had been deliberately kept out of the public eye. Maybe it was a personal recording, one that Jimi had made for himself and never intended for anyone else to hear. Or maybe it was a rare performance that someone had kept in their private collection, only now deciding to release it to the world. Whatever the reason, the fact that it had remained secret for so long only added to the mystery. As the details of the discovery began to unfold, the excitement reached a fever pitch. Fans, music critics, and historians were all desperate to know more. What was this new material? Was it a lost song, a video, or something else entirely? And most importantly, what did this mean for Jimi Hendrix's legacy? Would this discovery change how we view his music? Could it offer a new perspective on his life and his art? The questions seemed endless, and each one only deepened the mystery. When the discovery was finally revealed, it wasn't exactly what people expected. Instead of a single song or performance, it turned out to be a treasure trove of material, a mix of unreleased music, personal recordings, and rare footage that had never been seen before. The collection was full of surprises, and it painted a new picture of Jimi Hendrix as both an artist and a person. There were songs that fans had never heard, moments from his life that had been kept private, and glimpses of his creative process that were previously unknown. For the first time, fans could hear the raw, unfiltered sounds of Jimi Hendrix in a way that hadn't been possible before. But the discovery wasn't just about the music, it was also about the man behind the music. Jimi Hendrix was known for his wild performances and his larger-than-life persona, but this new material showed a different side of him. It revealed his more vulnerable moments, his struggles, and his thoughts on the world around him. It was as if this discovery allowed fans to see Jimi as more than just a rock star. It allowed them to see him as a human being, someone who had dreams, doubts, and fears, just like anyone else. For fans who had always wondered what Jimi Hendrix was like off stage, this discovery offered a rare glimpse into his personal life. It showed the quieter, more thoughtful side of the man who had shaped the sound of rock music. Some of the recordings were just him talking, sharing his thoughts on music, life, and the world. These moments made Jimi seem more real, more accessible, and more relatable than ever before. It was as if fans could finally hear the voice of the man behind the guitar, and it was both humbling and inspiring. The discovery also raised new questions. If this material had been hidden for so long, what else was out there? What other pieces of Jimi Hendrix's life and music had yet to be uncovered? The more people learned about this new discovery, the more they realized that there might still be more secrets waiting to be revealed. Jimi Hendrix's legacy was far from complete. There were still parts of his story that had never been told, and that was an exciting thought. In many ways, this discovery had done more than just bring new material to light. It had re-energized the conversation around Jimi Hendrix. It had sparked a renewed interest in his life and music, and it had given fans new reasons to appreciate his genius. It was as if even after all these years, Jimi Hendrix still had the power to surprise and inspire. This discovery proved that his impact on music was not just something from the past, it was something that continues to shape the future. For music lovers, this was more than just a moment in history. It was a chance to experience something new, something fresh, something that added another layer to the already rich legacy of Jimi Hendrix. It reminded everyone that in the world of music, there are always more stories to be told, more mysteries to solve, and more music to be heard. And for Jimi Hendrix, this discovery was just another chapter in a story that had already changed the world. For years, people have been trying to understand how Jimi Hendrix had such a huge impact on music. His influence isn't just about the number of albums he sold or the popularity of his songs, it's about the way he changed the entire music industry. But what is it exactly that makes him so important? What is the secret to his lasting influence that continues to inspire musicians, producers, and fans all over the world? To truly grasp the depth of Jimi Hendrix's impact, we need to look beyond his music. We need to understand how he pushed the boundaries of what was possible with an electric guitar and how he changed the way people think about music. It all started with his sound. Jimi didn't play the guitar in the traditional way, he didn't just follow the rules. He created his own rules and he made his guitar speak in ways no one had ever heard before. His use of distortion, reverb, and other effects revolutionized the way guitars could sound. In his hands, the guitar didn't just make music, it told a story. Every note, every chord, was infused with emotion. His playing had a raw, fiery energy that made it stand out. When he performed, it was as if he was communicating directly with the audience. His guitar solos were not just technically impressive, they were emotionally charged. They could make you feel the joy of being alive or the pain of a broken heart. This connection between the music and the listener is one of the things that has made Jimi Hendrix's influence so powerful. But it wasn't just his playing that set him apart, it was also his approach to music itself. Jimi Hendrix didn't follow the trends of the time, he created his own. He was one of the first musicians to fully embrace the possibilities of studio technology, using effects and multi-track recording to create sounds that were completely new. When he recorded Electric Ladyland, he didn't just make an album, he created a sonic landscape that took listeners on a journey. The layers of sound, the unexpected twists and turns in the music, and the use of space and silence all added to the feeling that he was creating something much bigger than just songs. He was creating an experience. and that experience was unlike anything anyone had ever heard before. One of the things that set Hendrix apart from other musicians of his time was his ability to blend different genres of music. He didn't limit himself to just one style. His music combined elements of blues, rock, jazz, and even funk. He was able to mix these influences in a way that felt fresh and exciting, rather than forced or out of place. This fusion of genres helped create a sound that was uniquely his own. When people listened to Jimi Hendrix, they could hear the echoes of the past, but they could also feel that he was pushing the boundaries of what music could be. His ability to blend so many different styles not only made his music more interesting, it also opened the door for future musicians to experiment and create their own unique sounds. Another important part of Jimi Hendrix's influence was his ability to challenge the norms of the music industry. In the 1960s, the music world was still very traditional. Record labels controlled what music got made, and radio stations decided what songs people heard. But Jimi Hendrix didn't play by those rules. He didn't care about being famous or selling records. He cared about expressing himself through his music. He was an artist who didn't follow the typical path. This made him a symbol of rebellion for many fans. Hendrix's willingness to defy expectations inspired other musicians to do the same. It showed that they didn't have to fit into a certain mold to be successful. They could break free from the limits of the music industry and make music that was true to themselves. But Jimi's influence wasn't just about how he played the guitar or how he approached music, it was also about his attitude. He had a fearlessness that made him stand out. He wasn't afraid to take risks or to try something new. He was always experimenting, always looking for ways to push the boundaries of what music could be. This willingness to take risks and try new things is what made his music so exciting. It's also what made him such an important figure in the world of music. He showed musicians that it was okay to take chances, to experiment, and to push the limits of what was possible. In many ways, Jimi Hendrix taught musicians that they didn't have to follow a set formula for success, they could create their own path. Jimi Hendrix's influence also extends beyond music. He became a cultural icon, representing the spirit of the 1960s. His music spoke to the youth of his time, capturing the feelings of rebellion, freedom, and change that were happening all around the world. He wasn't just making music, he was making a statement. He was a symbol of the counterculture movement, and his music became the soundtrack to a generation that was questioning the status quo and looking for new ways of thinking. Jimi Hendrix wasn't just a musician, he was a voice for the people who felt like they didn't fit into the traditional norms of society. Even after his death, Jimi Hendrix's influence continues to shape the world of music. His guitar playing, his innovative use of studio effects, and his fearlessness in pushing the boundaries of music have inspired countless artists. Musicians today still look to Hendrix as a model for creativity and self-expression. His music has been covered and reinterpreted by artists in almost every genre imaginable. And his influence goes beyond music. His style, his attitude, and his approach to life have made him a cultural icon whose impact can still be felt today. Jimi Hendrix didn't just change music for a generation, he changed it for all time. His influence is still felt in the music of today, and his legacy continues to inspire new generations of musicians. What makes his influence so lasting is that it wasn't just about the sound he created, it was about the way he approached music and life. He showed the world that it was possible to be both an artist and a rebel, to challenge the rules and create something new. His willingness to take risks, experiment, and break free from the norms of the music industry opened up new possibilities for musicians and changed the way we think about music. Jimi Hendrix didn't just shape the sound of rock music, he helped shape the future of music itself. Jimi Hendrix's legacy has lasted far beyond his short life. Even though he passed away in 1970, his impact on music and culture continues to be felt today. People still talk about his music, his style, and his unique approach to guitar playing. But what makes his legacy so lasting? What is it about Jimi Hendrix that makes him one of the most influential musicians in history? To answer this, we have to look deeper into what he accomplished during his life and why it still matters so much today. Jimi Hendrix didn't just make music, he changed the way people thought about music. He brought a new energy to rock and roll, one that was raw, unfiltered, and full of emotion. His guitar playing was unlike anything anyone had heard before. He used the electric guitar not just as an instrument, but as a tool to express himself in ways that were both powerful and groundbreaking. His style was wild, unpredictable, and full of passion. When he played, it was like the guitar was an extension of his soul. He didn't just play notes, he made the guitar sing, scream, and speak to the listener in a way that had never been done before. One of the key elements of Jimi Hendrix's lasting legacy is his ability to inspire. His music continues to inspire musicians from all over the world. When people pick up a guitar, they often look to Hendrix as a source of inspiration. His technical skill, creativity, and willingness to experiment with sound have made him a role model for countless artists. Musicians who want to push the boundaries of what's possible with the guitar often turn to Jimi's music as a guide. His influence can be seen in the music of modern rock, metal, and even electronic artists who borrow from his groundbreaking use of effects and experimental techniques. But it wasn't just his guitar playing that left a lasting mark on the music world. Jimi Hendrix's attitude toward music was just as important as his talent. He was a true artist, someone who was willing to take risks and follow his own path. In the 1960s, the music industry was very different from what it is today. Record labels and radio stations controlled what people heard and what music was popular. But Jimi didn't care about that. He didn't play to fit in. He played because he needed to express himself. He didn't care if his music was popular or not. What mattered to him was staying true to his vision and creating the kind of music he believed in. This attitude was a huge part of his influence. Jimi Hendrix wasn't just a musician, he was a symbol of freedom and individuality. He showed people that it was okay to be different, to break the rules, and to make your own path. He didn't follow trends, he created them, and in doing so he inspired countless musicians to do the same. His fearlessness in pushing boundaries, both musically and personally, has been a model for generations of artists who have come after him. In addition to inspiring musicians, Jimi Hendrix also left a lasting cultural legacy. His music became the soundtrack to the 1960s counterculture, a time when young people were rejecting traditional values and searching for new ways of thinking and living. Hendrix's wild, free-spirited image made him a hero to many in this generation. He became a symbol of rebellion, not just against the establishment, but against the expectations of society itself. His music spoke to the feelings of freedom, experimentation, and change that defined the time. And because his music was so powerful and timeless, it still resonates with people today, long after the 1960s ended. Jimi Hendrix's legacy also goes beyond just his music. His style and presence have had a huge influence on fashion and pop culture. He was known for his bold, eccentric sense of style. He wore bright, colorful clothes, often with a psychedelic flair. He wasn't afraid to stand out and express himself through his appearance just as much as he did through his music. This has made him an icon, not just in the world of music, but in the world of fashion and pop culture as well. His influence can still be seen in the way modern musicians dress and present themselves. The idea of using fashion as a way to express individuality and creativity can be traced back to Jimi Hendrix. But perhaps the most important part of Jimi Hendrix's legacy is his music itself. The songs he created are still loved and admired by people all over the world. Tracks like Purple Haze, Voodoo Child, and Little Wing have become classics that are played and enjoyed by generations of listeners. His music still sounds fresh and exciting, even decades after it was first recorded. The raw emotion, creativity, and energy that he poured into his songs still resonate with people today. His music isn't just a product of its time, it's timeless. It speaks to universal human emotions and experiences, which is why it continues to connect with listeners from all walks of life. The fact that Jimi Hendrix's music is still relevant today speaks to the power of his influence. Musicians today continue to cover his songs, reinterpret his ideas, and draw inspiration from his groundbreaking techniques. He didn't just influence rock music, he influenced all of modern music. From the way people play the guitar to the way they approach songwriting and production, Jimi Hendrix's influence can be seen in almost every corner of the music world. And it's not just musicians who are influenced by Hendrix. His impact can also be seen in other areas of art and culture. His willingness to experiment with sound, his free-spirited attitude, and his ability to push boundaries have inspired artists in all kinds of fields, from visual art to film. His legacy goes beyond music. It has become a cultural touchstone, something that continues to shape the way we think about creativity, individuality, and self-expression. What's amazing is that Jimi Hendrix's influence doesn't show any signs of fading. New generations of listeners continue to discover his music, and his impact continues to grow. In many ways, his legacy has only gotten stronger with time. The fact that people are still talking about him, still listening to his music, and still drawing inspiration from his work shows just how much he has shaped the world of music and culture. Jimi Hendrix's lasting legacy is a reminder that art, in all its forms, has the power to transcend time and place. His music, his attitude, and his creativity continue to inspire people to be true to themselves, to push the boundaries of what's possible, and to create something unique and meaningful. Even though he's been gone for decades, Jimi Hendrix's influence is still very much alive, and it will continue to shape the world of music and culture for years to come.